Hello everyone and welcome to the Kutniti's YouTube channel. I am Niranjan Marjani. Today we are going to talk about Israel. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar recently visited Israel and held extensive talks with the Israeli leadership, which included Prime Minister Naftali Bennett and Foreign Minister Yair Lapid. In their 30 years of diplomatic relations, India and Israel enjoy strong defense cooperation. How significant was Dr. Jaishankar's visit, and how India and Israel can further consolidate their ties to calibrate with global geopolitical flux? To discuss all this, we have with us Professor Nina Slama, who is an expert on India-Israel relations and a teaching assistant at IDC Herzliya, Tel Aviv, Israel. Professor Nina Slama, welcome to the Kutniti.
Thank you for having me.
So let me start by asking, how do you view Dr. S. Jaishankar's recent visit to Israel?
So the visit was very successful. It was a relatively long diplomatic visit of 5 days,
Right.
in which Dr. Jaishankar was able to meet the new government in Israel and to meet with other people here from the business, military, academia sectors, and to maintain and extend the relations between both countries. We here in Israel see it as a very important visit, in which Prime Minister Modi also invited Prime Minister Bennett to come and pay an official visit to India. So we see it as a very good and successful visit.
Probably the most important part of Dr. Jaishankar's visit was the formation of India-Israel United States UAE alliance. So is this an indication of Israel's interest and entry into the Indo-Pacific region?
Israel is always interested in collaborating with a wide range of countries throughout the world. And many countries today believe and understand that in order to develop and promote their national interests, they should collaborate on a multilateral level, not only on the bilateral level. And the way to do so is to forge good relations and multilateral relations on different aspects and issues with friends and allies throughout the world. And it is true that the US, the UAE, Israel, and India can collaborate on a wide range of sectors, such as technology, climate change, business, and other sectors in which they can all promote their comparative advantage in order to develop important programs in their respective countries.
India and Israel will complete 30 years of diplomatic relations in 2022. In these 3 decades, India-Israel relations have strengthened primarily due to defense cooperation. Now, how can both the countries build upon this foundation and develop their ties further?
It is true that the defense relations between both countries already were very strong but secret before both countries normalized their relations in 1992. We know that Israel provided assistance to India in its war against China and Pakistan in 1962, 1965, and 1971. And both leaders from the military sectors in Israel and India were cooperating secretly behind the curtains and extended their relations. It is true that after normalizing relations, both countries were able to publicize these relations. It took a little bit of a while until Prime Minister Vashpai came to power and wanted to forge a strategic triangle between India, Israel, and the US, especially after the 9/11 events. It is true that now, today, the relations are extended to other sectors, such as they are not limited only to the military and security sectors, but also to academia, water management, agriculture, academia, culture, and so forth. So it is true that the high-level visits of Prime Minister Modi in 2017 and now today, or last week of Dr. Jaishankar are very important in order to extend the relations between both countries, something which could not be done in the last 2 years due to COVID-19 pandemic.
And it includes free trade agreement as well. possibility of a free trade agreement?
Yes, when Dr. Jaishankar was here, both countries decided to continue the talks about the free trade agreement, and it seems like they will promote an agreement in the months or maybe years to come. And this will allow, of course, both countries to extend their business and economic relations.
Will the Abraham Accords lead to a stronger India-Israel relations, as because India would not have to balance its relations between Israel and Arab countries as it used to do earlier?
Yes, I think that the Abraham Accords open a window for both India and Israel to not just extend their relations on the bilateral level, but also with the UAE and Bahrain. We know that there are many Indians working in the region, in the Gulf countries, and it can be a source of connectivity as a bridge between India and Israel. And we see that they are already taking part in forums of renewable energy, businesses, and other sectors in which they extend their relations already between all these countries. These countries also share common threats, and I'm sure that they will be able to come together and think about manageable solutions to address these threats.
Yeah, that's what my next question is about common threats. The takeover of Afghanistan by the Taliban is a threat to the entire world, but in particular to South Asia and West Asia. So, as two leading powers in these two regions, how can India and Israel cooperate to counter this threat? And apart from the threat of attacks, there is also a threat of radicalization, as Dr. Jaishankar highlighted during his visit.
Yes, so both countries can share information and cooperate throughout the intelligence organizations of both countries in order to counter possible violent operations which can come from this region. And concerning radicalization, is not only a problem of Afghanistan, but many countries around the world are facing radicalization, and the way to counter radicalization in these countries is through education, because many countries in the world tried militarily, economically, and in other means to reduce the rate of the radicalization in their countries. But I believe that through education, it will be more possible to solve this problem of radicalization.
And how much is China factor relevant in India's and even United States engagement with Israel? Because not only has China's trade with Israel has doubled in past 1 decade, but China has also invested substantially in technology and infrastructure development, and even in those companies that manufacture sensitive technologies.
So it is true that the US has been very vocal about these relations with China, between China and Israel. And it raises many concerns, not only to the US and India, but to other countries in the world. But in foreign policy, countries has always this dilemma between interests and ideology. And when it comes to China, many countries in the region, in West Asia, are maintaining good relations, good economic and business relations with China, and are taking part in the BRI initiative as well. So Israel is aware about these concerns and is doing everything in its power to balance its relations between all the parties.
Okay, and I would like to talk about soft power. Soft power is an important instrument in India's foreign policy, and but mostly India is identified with yoga, food, music, movies. But India and Israel share a unique cultural connection, in which the Bene Israel community, during its stay in India for about 2000 years, adopted the language as well as surnames. I would like to say, in particular, Marathi language and Maharashtrian surnames during their stay in the state of Maharashtra. So, how relevant is this connection today, and how does the current generation, which descendants of the previous generations that migrated from India, identify themselves with this India?
So it is true that we have a very important community of the Bnei Israel and also from the Kutchini community here in Israel. They are very proud about their heritage, and they are still having different traditions which combine both Indian culture and Jewish culture as well. And it is true that also many Israelis love the Indian culture. They're practicing yoga, eating, very appreciating Indian cuisine, and they are just waiting to go back to India and be able to travel to India. And it is true that during the visit of Dr. Jai Shankar, both countries recognized the certificate, the vaccination certificates of both countries, which will enable the flights between both countries. So we enable both Israelis and Indian to come and travel in both countries.
So just from my earlier question, so I would like to ask if tourism is one sector in which both countries need to still work or develop, because I mean both the countries have a lot of tourist potential, but how much developed is this sector between both the countries, and is there a
So
lot of scope?
yes. So there are many Israelis going to India before, after their compulsory military service. They are visiting the North India, West India, and also South India as well. And now I think that there are also many Indians coming to Israel and visiting through cultural or student exchanges programs the country. They are very happy to come here and discover the state of Israel. And we are just hoping that we will be able to travel again in order to visit all the beautiful places in India.
Yes, certainly. We hope things come back to normal and tourism starts. And we also do hope that India-Israel relations continue to grow and strengthen.
Yes.
So, Professor Nina Aslama, thank you for your time and for speaking to the Kutniti.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. We hope you found this interview informative and insightful. You can tell us what you think in the comment section below, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also follow us on various social media websites, the details of which are on your screen. Thanks for watching.